I'm Val. I'm going to be here with you today. I'm going to ask some questions to this phenomenal guest that we have coming up, and then I'm going to get out of your way, and I'm going to let you get everything out that you wanted to. So have your questions ready, and we're going to go ahead. Oh, I got a psst over there. Somebody's super excited. We're going to go ahead and have Stephen Glickman come out. Everybody, let's hear it.
Oh, how fun. This is awesome. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Hey! Okay.
I love it. I love it. I have to say we're probably the best dressed panelists today.
Yeah, we're very cool.
What do you guys think? Like, we've got some pretty awesome outfits going on. Which I think is great because when I found out that I had this pleasure, have you guys followed him on Instagram? If you haven't done it, do it right now. You're going to get exhausted. Wow. I know most of you know him by very specific fandoms, but I kind of want to go through this list of things that I know you do.
Oh, sure.
But I know I'm going to miss some because how could you possibly keep up? Singer.
Sure.
Musician.
Yeah.
Actor.
Yep.
Comedian.
Uh-huh.
Voice actor.
Okay.
This next one's one of my absolute favorite. Toy photographer.
Oh.
Podcaster.
Yeah.
You host a ton of events.
Mm-hmm.
This one's also one of my favorites. You are a hotel waffle connoisseur.
What?
If you have not gone to it, do you know what I'm talking about? So you visit a lot of hotels, very similar to me.
Yeah.
And hotels provide these breakfasts, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there's this video that you show how to create the perfect hotel waffle. And I think if you've have you gone to the hotels where they give you the breakfast? I can never get the waffle.
There was a lot of choices to make. Nutella, how sweet do you want to go? You guys know what I'm saying? Jelly, there's peanut butter. I don't know what I'm talking about. It was, I just like, okay. So like I've been on the road all year, like touring and doing concert shows at universities and just doing really fun shows everywhere. And House of Blues, I toured with Robbie from, Matt Bennett from Victorious. So we toured around the country. And so every time I'm staying at a hotel, I'm just like, I want to make a video about this hotel I'm staying at. And so then you just start going like, well, what weird thing can I do this time? So one time I went to a hotel and they were like, oh, can you make a video about our gym? And so I was like, check it out. My favorite thing in the gym, the chairs. And then it was just me just sitting in a chair. Just like, I'm working out. Sitting in this chair, doing relaxing. I try to have fun at these.
I was jealous because every time I go up to the waffle maker, it always looks gooey because people have overspilled. Sure. And then you never know when to flip it. And then it comes out maybe half done or a little too crispy. I like mine on the crispy side. But the way you did this, I was like, is this a chef that did this? So I was very
really
impressed.
Good at stuff.
I was really impressed.
Well, I'm very impressive. So.
I feel like, and you seem like an all-around good guy.
Oh, thanks.
So I really like that.
Wow, this is nice.
So like, are you like the new Ryan Seacrest? Like
Ryan Seacrest?
You do everything. He has every job in the world.
Oh,
and
I do have
I'm like going,
of...
you have so many jobs.
You know what it is like 2020, I got single for the first time in like almost 10 years. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do everything. I'm just going to do everything I love. I'm just like, I'm going to turn it up. Don't turn it up to 11, turn it up to like 48. You know what I mean? Just do all the things you've always wanted to do. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Like I was like, I've always wanted to make music. I started going to a recording studio, recording songs, putting out songs, putting out music. Then, I've always wanted to tour, but I've kind of always been a little nervous about like being out. And I was like, forget being nervous. Let's go explore the country. Let's go do the things and go to places we've never been before and meet people we've never met, like let's get out there, go do all the stuff. Like I've loved toys. I have a pretty big toy collection. And then I was just like, let's start making let's shoot photos of toys, like a big old nerd, you know? And then I started being a little toy photographer, shooting toy photos. And then Nikon sponsored me. So now I'm a toy photographer for Nikon photos. So I've got a whole crane setup at home. Last night I was hanging out with a miniaturist who builds the miniature sets that I get to shoot my toys on sometimes. It's like, what is happening? You know? So yeah, it's been a lot of like trying not to hold back and going after projects and things that I'm like super excited about and proud of, you know?
What's the next thing that you're like, I need to do this. I want to do this.
I have two that are really significant that I'm like really excited about. Sure. A couple months ago, I got to record my first live album, and it is 10 songs, 12 songs, something like this. And I brought in all my favorite musicians from TikTok that I had met around the country. I flew people in, and it's like literally the best violinist in the country. Mia Asano plays on the album, and we recorded the entire thing live in front of a live audience, and it was just so cool. It was like such a cool experience, and so that comes out in like just I think November, December, which is exciting. And then the other big thing that's really cool is I wrote an animated short film 3 years ago, and we've been trying to get it made for the last 3 years, and we finally got funding, and it's being animated in India at a place called Digitoons, and in Mexico at a place called Demente. And as of Monday, Mel Brooks joins the cast of my animated short film. And so that's super exciting. And I can't say who it is, but someone from the cast of Rick and Morty is joining the cast as well. And it's so exciting. And it's being directed by the same guy who directed Storks, the movie that I did with Warner Brothers. So it's like one of those things. It's 3 years I've been working on this thing and just staring at drawings of my dog, because it's all about my dog. So so it's been really cool. You know, it's been really fun working on projects. I don't think people
understand how long it takes to get a film made, to get it out there. And then once you go to animation, it's even like harder and longer to get those done. So you've got to be super excited, and hopefully you're going to enter it maybe into Sundance Film Festival so we can see you here again.
Yeah, it'll get submitted for the Academy Awards and for Sundance and Cannes and all that kind of stuff.
That's exciting.
Yeah, there's a whole team behind it. So and I wrote it. So it's fun to watch something that you've worked really hard on kind of finally make it into its next year where it'll actually get seen and people will get to watch it and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thanks. But yeah, you know, this has been, it's been an interesting, like animation, by the way, just, you know, fun facts is any animated movie you've ever seen takes a minimum of 4 years to make from start to finish. From the time that they write the script to the time the movie comes out is a minimum of 4 years. So it's quite an ordeal. It's quite a situation, kind of getting things like that happening.
And you've been involved in a lot of animation, and we're going to talk about Toady really quick.
Oh, sure.
I'm a huge fan of birds. Who loves birds?
Like,
that's sad.
That was
they're real. They are not robots. Who loves birds? All right. That's better. Even there fake it. Just pretend.
Just one lady in the back.
One lady's like, I really like birds. I love birds. I guess I'm the only weirdo here, which is fine. This is a place where we can all grab onto our weirdness, right?
Sure, yeah.
When you were a young guy and you were thinking about what kind of pigeon you wanted to be when you grew up.
Of course, yeah. Yes.
Was Toady what you pictured as you?
Not even kind of. That was like, I did this movie called Story Storks, I played Pigeon Toady, this little pigeon in the movie. I don't know why I make it like a physical thing. Like he's not real, but
He's so real.
But I go, he's this tall. It's funny. My cousin's kid is 4 years old, and he came up to me at dinner, and he was like, "I saw Storks," and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And he was like, "You played the pigeon," and I was like, "I did," and he was like, "How you get so small?" I was like, "Magic." And he was like, "Oh, okay, magic. Okay, magic." That was a really crazy experience. I auditioned to be in this movie, Storks, and I was a rough draft voice. So when you make an animated movie, you cast a bunch of actors, usually funny or cool, like fun people, to play the cast, to do the roles in the animated film. And then as you get closer to the movie coming out, you fire all those people and then hire famous people to take those roles. And that's how it works every time. That's what they've always done. And so I got cast to play Pigeon Toady, this little pigeon. I talk like this in the movie. It was like kind of doing like an impression of my old roommate who was from Long Beach. And he was like really mean. Like he would like walk up to I'd be like in my bedroom, and he'd walk up to my bedroom and be like, "Your bedroom's a mess, just like your life, ha ha." And then he'd like walk away. He'd be like, "Your life is a garbage pile." Like he was like just the meanest guy, but with the worst accent, for it. So it just inspired this character who's like supposed to be kind of a mean guy, but he's a little pigeon and he's just weird. So I did that voice, and then I got the part. And I was like the rough draft voice on the movie for 2 years, coming in every once a week, doing this little voice, having fun, and lots of talented people were there, and it was cool. And then one day they were like, "All right, we have to record the song How You Like Me Now" by The Heavy, which is a great band. And they were like, "We got to get someone to do that song," and so we have a singer coming in to do it. And I was like, no, I'm a singer. I'll do it. And they were like, no, we have someone. We hired someone. And I was like, screw that guy. You have to let me do it. And they were like, all right, fine. We'll let you try it one time. And so in front of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who produced Into the Spider-Verse, and Brad Lewis, who won the Oscar for producing Ratatouille, and John Venzen, who was our editor, who also did South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
No pressure.
And all
Holy
these
cow.
massive people from Frozen and everything, they're all in the room. And then our director, Nick Stoller, and Doug Sweetland, who Doug Sweetland is a Disney legend, was nominated for an Oscar. And Nick Stoller is the guy who did Forgetting Sarah Marshall and all sorts of great movies. And so in front of all of them, I had to be like, "Now there was a time," and like sing "How You Like Me Now," and it was hilarious. And we finished, and they were like, "Well, now we kind of have to keep you for this part." And then they literally fired the rest of the cast, replaced them with Andy Samberg, Kelsey Grammer, Jennifer Aniston, Ty Burrell, Key and Peele, and me. And I got to stay on, and it was my first time being in a big giant movie, and it was like the coolest thing ever. And I had like I had the best time. And I brought Kendall from Big Time Rush to the premiere, so and he was one of my dates for the premiere.
It's good to bring a bestie with you.
Oh yeah,
right?
you got it.
Right?
You got it. Absolutely, it's so fun.
Now I know once we get into Big Time Rush and Gustavo, like I've totally lost you. So I have one last question. It just I'm gonna pass it off over here. But recently you did a fundraiser.
Sure.
With the voice of SpongeBob.
Oh, Tom Kinney.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you are involved in the community. You do a lot of these things. So does he. But that made me think about something. Gustavo is very much around music all the time. Mm-hmm. SpongeBob is one of my favorite animated characters that makes up songs about things all the time. Now, if Gustavo and SpongeBob were to go on an adventure and they had a song, I'm going to give you a minute. What would this song be? Now, if you know, do you watch SpongeBob? Anybody? Right? The best time to wear a striped sweater.
Totally. So if Gustavo and SpongeBob went on an adventure, it'd be like Gustavo would be like, hey dogs, let's go to Salt Lake City. It's gonna be so much fun. And then SpongeBob would be like, we're gonna be so many people. I'm gonna get me a hot dog for fun. Something like that. Wow, I really nailed that. I am such a good songwriter.
You are. See?
The best
This is why you
songwriter.
get paid the big bucks. Okay, if you have questions, get in line and let's get into questions.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay. He's ready.
Look at this guy. Okay.
Okay. So I'm Jay. So I'm personally a musician myself as well. I play percussion. I play violin and cello. I play piano. I play everything except for flute. I refuse to learn that one. That's the only instrument I refuse to learn.
I get you. I understand.
But I saw a TikTok that you posted, like you're looking for musicians. Is that actually true? Or is that still going on?
Am I looking for actual musicians?
Yes.
Yes, I am actually. On the tour, throughout this year, I've done about 30 shows on the road this year. So the beginning of the year, I posted a thing on Twitter before it became X, and I was like, hey, I am looking for, I did it on TikTok too.
Yeah, that's what I saw on TikTok.
Yeah, I was like, I'm looking for musicians, any musicians, let me know and send me a tape, send me video of you playing whatever. Of those tapes, 12 musicians have joined me to play shows with me. So that's kind of how I've been finding musicians on the road, is going back to that and being like, oh, this guy's a great drummer. He should come play with me in Chicago. Or this guy's a great guitar player. He should come play with me in, if we're going to the city that you're in and I'm going to do a show at a university or at a House of Blues or something in the same town, like, send me tape of you playing the instrument and I'll let you know it. And then I just send tracks of, like, from the last show. I'll be like, here's me and my guitar player at the last show. Can you learn this song? Do you want to do, Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo with me? And it's been really cool. I've been able to build kind of bands around the country I can play with. So yeah, man, if that's what you're doing, please send me tape. Okay.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Nice to meet you. Come on. Good job.
My name's Ike. What was your favorite Big Time Rush episode to film?
Favorite Big Time Rush episode to film was probably the superhero episode because it was just, being in spandex all day, that's a dream for me. No, it was hilarious. I got to fly, which was really fun and weird. And my favorite part of it is that the script for Big Time Superheroes was written by Jessica Gao, and Jessica Gao left the show the next year to write Pickle Rick for Rick and Morty, and then went on to create She-Hulk over at Marvel. So we've got some real fun. It was fun to get to work with, like, really brilliant writers and do superhero stuff. I'm such a giant fan of that. Good question.
Thank you.
Okay, so you fortunately stole my question. So I'm going to take this question up. If I can ask two of them. First one is, what is your favorite Big Time Rush song? Okay. And the second question is, what is your favorite memory being on the production for Big Time Rush?
Good question. Good questions, man. First one, it's obvious for me to say Paralyzed because I just put out this emo cover of Paralyzed that's getting like great play right now, which is awesome. If you haven't heard it, it was really, really, really fun, and it took like 2 years to come out, but it's out now, and it's awesome. And there's a music video with Boo Boo Stewart and me and a bunch of people. But best memory from the show is probably they're just like every morning on the show, me and Logan would go get breakfast from craft services, and then we would sit in our dressing rooms, which were across from each other. So we would just sit and have breakfast together every morning. And that was like the coolest. Just having like someone, it's like a friend to eat breakfast with every day is like, what a cool, fun thing to have. And it really brought the two of us closer as friends. And yeah. Still to this day, it's one of those like, oh, I loved that. I loved like having friends to get up and hang out with every day. Like I loved it. I loved that whole thing. That was
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. Breakfast. All right, you're next. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. So since we are on the topic of Big Time Rush and Gustavo, I have an unusual request. Would you scream at me as a Gustavo?
Wow. Okay. Now I only do this one time per convention. Okay.
So everybody get
Okay.
your cameras out because it's just going to happen once.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Get in the studio, dogs.
Thank you so much.
All right. That's only because you wore that Gustavo shirt yesterday. So, what's up?
Hey, so in 2011, you were in a movie called Love on a Leash.
Oh my dear God! Get the out.
I gotta know, how did that happen? What was it like recording the lines for that movie?
Wow. All right, I'm going to tell the story, but my agent is here, and if he leaves me because of this, it's your fault.
Earmuffs.
No. This is a true story. I was working at the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard as the phone operator and the front door man at the comedy club, protecting comics from fights and things like this. And a comedian named Ari Shafir, who's a funny guy, came up and to me in my office and said, "Hey, there's a movie that's getting made, and would you be interested in being in this movie?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I'm down for whatever. You know, I'd love to be in anything. I'd never been in anything before. I was brand spanking new to town, and this is what the plot of the movie is. In the movie, a woman who is very lonely and sad finds a homeless golden retriever." Let's start there. A homeless golden retriever. Then she falls in love with the golden retriever and she kisses it on the mouth and it turns into a man. And then she has sex with that man. And then in the morning, turns back to a dog. And then at nights, it's a man again. And then in the morning, it's a dog. Until she breaks the curse. Yeah, you see, people are leaving because of this. It's your fault. The woman that wrote this was a factory worker in China. Her name was Fian Ten, and she wrote this film while working in a factory. She got the church, the local church, to give her $10,000 to make the movie because she lied to them and told them it was about Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
You still with me? Then she came to America and made this movie, okay? Then they needed someone to voice the dog in the movie, and so they didn't have any money left. But what they did have was cantaloupe, which is what they paid me. 2 cantaloupes and a bag of wontons is what I was given to be the voice of the dog in this terrible, terrible garbage movie called Love on a Leash. Now, they finished the movie, but they didn't have the money to add music to the movie, so the movie was incomplete. And the movie ended up, she was trying to raise money, and while she was trying to raise money to finish the movie, this woman, Fian Ten, was crossing the street and accidentally was hit by a bus and died. The movie was then thrown in a garbage pile full of all these other DVDs that no one at this company would ever care about. That company was then purchased by a larger company, which was then purchased by Amazon Prime. All of those movies were then uploaded to Amazon Prime. Stick with me. A movie reviewer named Ralph the Movie Maker who has millions of followers, watched the movie and was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. But it only has 3 reviews on IMDb. Hey, everyone, all my millions of followers, go leave positive reviews for Love on a Leash. It currently has over 7,000 10 out of 10 reviews. Here's what happened because of that. The movie now has a higher rating than Gone with the Wind, which put it at the top of the list of the free movies that these companies can purchase or buy and put on their streaming services, which has gotten it purchased and uploaded to Tubi and about 15 Vudu and a bunch of other streaming services have now purchased and uploaded this movie to their sites, which is why you have most likely seen it. So that, even though this woman has passed away, and this is hands down one of the worst movies ever made, it has a life and people have gotten to watch it, which is horrible and also hilarious.
You are owed way more cantaloupes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I hope I'm correct.
This is the best costume of the day.
Thank you.
God bless you.
I hope I'm correct about this, and if not, I will run away in embarrassment. But you were the original Shrek in Shrek the Musical?
You bet your butt I was.
Okay, good. I don't have to run away in embarrassment today.
I was Shrek in Shrek the Musical on Broadway for the Broadway workshops and readings of Shrek the Musical for 2 years. I worked on the show. And yeah,
I was wondering how that came about and what it was like working on a musical in the early readings. And
it was it was a magical, a crazy experience. I was basically the only person in the cast that hadn't been on Broadway. I was brand new, but I went to an audition, an open call in Los Angeles. I had no manager, no agents, no nothing. And I went to this open call. I had a headshot that was literally half color and had faded to black and white because I'd run out of color on the printer because I printed it from home. And my resume had handwritten credits on the bottom. I was not, yeah. So there were 100 fat guys with beards in a room with me, which is a bunch of us. The room did not smell great. And we all sat around all day waiting for the equity auditions to be done so that they could have the non-union people audition for Shrek the Musical. And I was auditioning for Tara Rubin, who's one of the biggest casting directors in the world, and Jason Moore, who went on to do the show where they're all singing a cappella. What was that movie?
Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Yeah. So it was the two of them. I went in. I was sitting in the. I know this is like, I don't want to go on forever about this, but I was sitting in the waiting room, sitting next to a guy, and I go, "What are you singing?" And he goes, "Meatloaf." And I go, "What? Meatloaf?" He goes, "Yeah. Why? What are you singing?" And I go, "The Bare Necessities." And he goes, "Why would you sing The Bare Necessities?" I go, "It was a big animated large character, and Shrek's a big animated large character. I figured that's kind of something." Mm-hmm. And he went, this is a rock musical." And I was like, "It is?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, like that's not the right thing to sing." And I was like, "Oh crap." And I went out to my car to like leave. And I opened my trunk, and there was a Ray Charles handbook, a music book in my trunk. And I was like, oh my God, all right. And I took that out, and I walked in to my audition, and I was like, I'm gonna do What I Say by Ray Charles. And they were like, okay. And I sang the first 8 bars, and they stopped me, and they went, "We've been looking for you for 3 years." And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, we've been trying to find this exact thing. You're perfect for this. Can you do the voice? And I was like, no, I cannot. And they were like, can you learn the voice by tomorrow? And I was like, I guess so. And for what part? And they were like, for Shrek. And I was like, okay. And On the drive home, I stopped by a video store, which is a thing that used to exist. And I went to this video store and I bought a copy of Shrek for $20 on DVD. And I literally was like, this is $20 I'm never getting back. What a waste of money that I'm a grown man. I'm going to go sit and watch Shrek tonight and learn the voice. And I watched the movie all the way through. Then I watched it again, but this time I repeated every line that he had. And then I watched it a third time and tried to see if I could get the accent and the stuff right. And I'm pretty good at picking up voices and stuff. So by the fifth time that I'd watched it overnight, I had like a bit of a Shrek voice. And I came in the next day, I did it, and then I proceeded to do 35 callbacks over 3 months. It was extremely crazy. I mean, they were bringing me in with Jeffrey Katzenberg and David Geffen and Sam Mendes, who produced the musical, and all these huge people. And it kept getting more and more intense the longer I was in it. And then finally, after 35 callbacks, they called and said that I'd been offered the role of Shrek in the musical. And they moved me from my little crappy apartment in Encino, California, to 58th and 5th Avenue overlooking Central Park. And I lived there for 2 years with a driver taking me everywhere and a doorman, and I had like the best damn time ever. I had window washers. There were guys that had to like wash. I'd be like sleeping naked, and they'd be washing, and then have to see me more clearly. Like that was so. It was mean for them, but I felt bad. But also, whatever. I get hot at night, and yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then I was there with Sutton Foster and Chris Sieber and John Tartaglia and all these amazing people. And it was the most incredible experience of my life. It changed so much. And when it ended, after 2 years of working on it, and then they replaced me with Brian Darcy James right before the show opened, I came back to Los Angeles, and 2 weeks after I landed in LA, I got Big Time Rush. So it worked out perfectly, but I love that show, and I love Broadway, and I love doing musical theater. I'm still doing it, so I love it. Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Thank you.
If you want to see him as Shrek, again, his Instagram.
Oh,
There's an amazing video of you full makeup.
Oh yeah, the
everything.
full makeup and prosthetics and everything. Yeah, it was like 6 hours to get into makeup for that. It was crazy. What's up?
I'm back. So
Yeah.
I was wondering, like on the cast roles, it says they all of them have the same first name, but except for you. Why is that?
Oh, on Big Time Rush?
Yes.
'Cause, I think they kind of did that so that the band could be a real band in real life and be a band on the show. It would make it less confusing, for fans and stuff like that. But what is, what's interesting about it is that people to this day call me Gustavo kind of wherever I go. I mean, I was at TSA going through LAX, and the TSA agent was just like patting me down. He was like, "All right, Gustavo, you're good to go." I was like, "Hell yeah, dude!" And it's like, it's fun. It's like, it's also kind of like a little way of me knowing that someone grew up on the show without them like being. It's like, it's nice, like. I've had a lot of waiters and waitresses and Starbucks people write Gustavo instead of Stephen, and like it does not bother me in any way, shape, or form. Like it just means that it's like, I recognize them, they recognize me. Like I know that, I know that I'm important to them in some way. They're important to me always, so it's cool. Yeah, I think that's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? My name's Jawanza, and once upon a time ago, I ended up doing. I found myself co-screenwriting for a short film with a small group of people, and it was during that time that I got firsthand experience and like reminding, like, oh yeah, not every plan goes out how you expect it to on set. So what's some experience that you've had on Big Time Rush or any other of your projects that you like ended up being more of a mess than you really bargained for it?
Ooh, yeah, yes, yeah. Oh yeah. I did a superhero short web series thing back when those existed, back on YouTube, like back in the day, and I had got Fabio, the male supermodel, to be like a lead in this short thing that we were doing. And he said to us, before the short, we were looking for a location, and he was like, "Oh, Stephen, it's totally cool. We can go to this very cool place and we can shoot together. It's gonna be so much fun. I go there all the time. It's like an abandoned street. It's no big deal." Turned out that abandoned street was a state park. So we brought our entire cast and crew out to a state park without permits. And as we started to film, the police arrived, and so did the sheriff and the park rangers, and they were like, "You can't be here." And Fabio was like, "Don't worry, I got this." And he walked over and he was like, "Hey guys, don't be like don't be not cool, okay? It's me, Fabio. We're all best friends, So like, why don't you just let us like have a cool time, like make a cool thing together? We all just friends, right? It's cool." And they were like, "If you don't get out of here, we're arresting all of you immediately." And we were like, we had set up our craft service table and all of our stuff, and we were like, we're on a time crunch. We had to quickly pack up and get out of there. And we were like, where are we supposed to go film with Fabio, of all people? And he was like, "Oh, I guess we can use the street that's behind my house that's private that I own." And we were like, "Are you serious? How did you not mention that immediately?" So then we just shot at Fabio's house the rest of the day. But I mean, it was, almost getting around. Also, my mom was there. My mom was doing craft services for me. So, like, you can imagine, like, my mom's just being like, "Should I talk to someone?" I'm like, "Stay in the van." So yeah, that was one. That could be a story.
How cool though would it have been to get arrested with Fabio?
Very cool.
Like, best story. Mom, you're gonna
yeah.
have to bail us out. Like, stay in the car.
Yeah, stay in the car, Mom. Me and Fabio are getting arrested. We're going to prison. Me and Fabio are going to prison together. Yeah, he's a fascinating guy. Any other fun questions? Anyone else? You can come on up, or you can raise your hand if you don't want to get up. Oh yeah, we got one right there. Sure. Could I do a line from Shrek? Oh, donkey. I think my favorite was ogres are like onions. That was kind of, no, it's because they have layers. That, like, ogres are not like a parfait. They're like, it's like something like that. I love that.
Can I ask another question?
Anything. Yeah, we've got a few more minutes.
Yeah, we do. So
yeah.
You did an interview about how close you and the cast of Big Time Rush are. And I feel like you have all of these fans that also feel like they're a part of the show. These people are a part of their lives. But I love that you're all still a part of each other's lives. And you talked about when they were going to leave to go on tour.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell everybody about this story?
Yeah, it's a little depressing, but it's real.
It has a happy ending.
I will. No, I'll tell you. Okay, all right. Yeah, all right, here we go. So when we were doing the Big Time Rush show, the first season of that show, we were all the same, basically. All of us had been on TV shows before, but none of us had ever been series regulars on a show. This was a new thing for all of us, having this experience. We also knew all the same people. Oh my God, just looking over and seeing these costumes are so funny. While I'm telling this story, it's so funny. So it was like really, like we all knew all the same folks. So it's like if someone was like, "Oh, I was talking to Daniel the other day," I would know who Daniel is. I'd be like, "Tell Daniel what's up." Like we all knew the same folks. And then at the end of season 1, Big Time Rush went on their first tour. So they all go travel, and when they came back, I didn't know anybody that they were talking about anymore. because they had met all new people, they'd had all these experiences, and I wasn't a part of any of those experiences. But it's like, who cares, right? Like, I'm a grown adult man. Like, why do I care about knowing who they know? But like, what would happen is we'd be on set, and James would be like, "Oh, I was talking to Phil the other day," and I'd be like, "Who's Phil?" And he'd be like, "Oh, don't worry about it." So yeah, Phil, said to do this, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I guess I don't need to know who Phil is, And then later, like the next day, it was like Carlos said something like, "Oh, dude, I was talking to Brandon," and I was like, "Who's Brandon?" And he'd be like, "Oh, don't worry, it's someone we worked with," and he would just keep talking to the other people, and I just was like, I started feeling really left out, and I was like, why am I feeling so left out? This sucks. So it was like 3 days of this, and like the third day, I went home, and I was like really depressed. And I was like, why am I feeling so depressed? This has nothing to do with me. Also, of course they know people I don't know, but I could not shake this feeling. And so I got a therapist, and I like went to this therapist, and I was like, yo, dude, I've never seen a therapist before, but I gotta ask you what's going on. Like, I was like, I'm feeling sad that I don't know the same people that this boy band knows. Like, what is happening? And he was like, well, let me ask you this. Have you ever had somebody who was a big part of your life, and then they started traveling a lot and met other people and then they started kind of ignoring you? And I was like, yeah, my dad did that. And then he left. And they were like, oh, okay, so that's what it is. You're having this moment where you're like projecting or like equivalating these things, this feeling, you're putting this feeling with something else, right? And it's you're getting triggered, right? And I was like, oh my God, I guess I am. I guess I have some unresolved stuff that I haven't worked out. And so I was like, what am I supposed to do about this? And he was like, tell these boys about what happened, what you're feeling. And I was like, oh, that's going to be awesome. And so I pulled the 4 boys into Kendall's dressing room, and I was like, look, this is a long time before talking about mental health was anything, So I was just like, look, guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but this is what's going on. And I explained how it was making me feel and about my past and, my father leaving and all this stuff. And I finished telling the 4 of them, and the 4 of them stood up, came over and hugged me, and never have ever left me out of anything ever again. And it really tightened the 5 of us up in a really strong, amazing way. And I guess the point of me saying this is, look, if there is ever something that you're feeling or someone says something that like triggers some sort of emotional response from you that you need to talk about, or if I could turn to a boy band and let them know how I was feeling emotionally, you guys can do it with your friends and your family. So just remember to do that, okay?
All right, so we only have a few minutes left. How was this? So fun, right?